Are you struggling to get wins on FC25 after the latest patch? Well, don't worry, you're in the right place. I'm about to give you 8 formations and tactics and a full breakdown of each one that are guaranteed to help you get more wins. And I know what you're saying now. What's the point in having 8 formations? You can only use 5 at the max. Meh, meh, meh. I know that, but I've simplified the FIFA community today into people that like 1 striker formations and people that like 2 striker formations. So I've got the perfect roles, tactics, and when to use them for both types, just so that we've got that variety. So now's the time to go and make yourself a cup of tea. This could be a long video. I'm not like the other YouTubers. I'm not going to make you sit through 8 different videos to get these formations. We'll do it all in one video. And just because I'm nice, I'm even going to pop a link down below in the description for each time frame for each formation and the code so that you can have them and go wherever you want to go. But I'd recommend sticking around for the whole video if you can, just because I'm going to be talking about the team that you need and how to set it up for these formations to work, as well as going in depth into each formation and what they do and how they're going to help you get those wins. And don't forget, if any of these formations and tactics helped you, please drop me a like, guys. It helps me out no end. And if you want more, consider subscribing. Anyway, this could be a long video, so let's just get into it. Before we get into talking about the formations and tactics and the roles and stuff, I'm going to talk through the ideal team to have for this to work to the best of its abilities. As you can see, I'm running a Man City past and present. You guys might have options that I do not, unfortunately, have. But this is how I'd line up my team so that you get the best that you possibly could. So for the goalkeeper, personal preference, man, on both the roles in any formation as well as the goalkeeper themselves. We all know goalkeepers aren't exactly fantastic on these games anyway, so just go with one that you like. For both your fullbacks, I would go for someone that's got fullback ++. That is the most common meta role to use in the sort of current state of play. But what I do and what I'd recommend you do, either on your bench or in your starting 11, is to have one that can play CB as well and play CB well, because that is going to give you more options in changing your formation and tinkering mid-game to give you that advantage of getting a win against someone that you might not if you just stuck with this formation the entire way through. So I'm using Nathan Ake at left back. I've evoed him so he has ++ on fullback, but he is also just as capable being a centre back if I want to switch to a back 5 or 3. Similar scenario for any central midfielders that you have. If you've got CMs, I'd try and find someone that's just as capable playing CM as they are as CDM, and that will open you up for more options. For any cams, I think Playmaker ++ is just the best role at the moment. Shadow Striker is also incredible. It's personal preference, man. Just get a cam that you trust. As you can see here, I use Bernardo Silva, who doesn't have a role ++ at all, but he just works so well for me in this formation. For your wingers, I'd be looking for someone that's got inside forward ++. That does seem to be the meta at the moment, but obviously if you can get winger ++ or winger plus as well, absolutely incredible. Also look for players if you can get them on LW and LM. That is going to help you in terms of just having a little bit more flexibility in your formations, being able to maybe switch from a 4-2-4 to a 4-4-2, for instance. And then for your striker, bread and butter, advanced forward ++ is still the best role in the game. All the other ones are developing, but advanced forward's still the way to go. Moving on to the bench. I'm a risky bisky kind of guy. I do not run a goalkeeper on my bench. I've never had to in my entire FIFA career, which is probably spanning on over, oh God, when was my first one? 99? Yeah, that's a long time. I don't even want to do the maths because that's going to make me feel old. But I would have a left back and a right back. And this is why I said at the beginning that you want a left back or a right back in either your subs or your starting 11 that can run centre half. Because you can see from my bench, I don't have a centre half on the bench. If I want to switch it up in mid-game, I can move Ake into centre half if I need to. Likewise, quite lucky that I also have Kvaradol that can work on the left or the centre half position. So for these 2 fullbacks, I'd go for someone that is attacking, so an attacking fullback. So as you can see, I've got João Cancelo, I play him on the right, and DeMarcus Beasley on the left, who are both very attacking, because a lot of the formations that I'm going to switch to and change to in the game here are going to be offensive fullbacks. I'm doing the Future Stars objective at the minute, but here I would have 2 CMs that can run CDM, or maybe 1 CM that's an adequate CDM and 1 cam that is also an adequate CM. It's completely up to you. You can sort of do personal preference here. And then for your wingers, again, man, personal preference. I'd get someone that's interchangeable with what you have on. Again, if they can have LM and LW and RM and RW, works even better. and then a striker with advanced forward ++, which my Evo Delap does have. But that's how I'd line up the teams, guys, and that's going to make a lot more sense when I go into the formations now. But to start off with, when you start, you always want a balanced formation. Albeit one up front or two up front, it needs to be balanced. So, let's get into it. And for the first one striker formation, you probably saw this one coming. Let's be honest, it's the 4-2-1-3. It's a formation that so many people are rocking, and they're rocking it for a reason, man. It is so good. Build up, defensively, offensively, you can't go wrong with this formation. It's so good as a balanced starter formation. I go counter on the build-up style, probably the most better at the moment with how fast the passing is. And for your defensive approach on all these, man, I'd say it's personal preference. I think 70 works best because you get some good pressure going on, can get those aggressive tackles going that you need post-patch. However, it's what you're comfortable with, man. Try this out, you'll still get good results even on a 50 depth. For the player roles, on every formation I do, I say the goalkeeper is personal preference, and I still stick by that. If you've got a ++ goalkeeper, use a ++ goalkeeper role. It really doesn't matter. You control the goalkeeper best you can, and they will still do crazy stuff at times. So just use whatever fits best for you. For your defenders, bread and butter, defend, and get people that got ++ if you can, because it is the best role for a centre-half. Both your fullbacks in this formation on fullback balanced. Now, if you are struggling a little bit defensively, you could put this on fullback defend and just narrow that line a little bit. However, I think fullback balanced, if you're looking for a balanced formation, they get into good positions going forward as well as decent defensively. For both your holding midfielders, you're going to go on deep line playmaker and build up. This is a really good role for me. I think if you can get ++ there, better, but as you can see, neither of my players do have that ++. They both have plus, and you think that they're going to just sit there. They do not. On the attack, one of them at least will go ploughing forward. But when you're defending, they get back so quick and you're in this line of 6, which is just really difficult to break down. For your cam man, playmaker balance, that's the way I always go for the 4-2-1-3. And to be honest, on a majority of my cam roles, I think playmaker balance is the best way to go. They just find those little pockets that post-patch just give you that little bit of space now that people can't AI defend anymore, and you can just ping those passes anywhere. Just on that note, incisive or ping pass plus come in really handy in that cam role now that there isn't the AI defence. You can just ping passes through balls to your wingers or to your forward. Both your wingers are on inside forward balance, quite self-explanatory, and then advanced forward attack for your striker. And this is what it looks like with the ball. Like I say, you've got a line of 6 defensively, but those deep line playmakers will get up the pitch. Your cam's going to be all over the place in the middle, pinging the ball to these 3 forwards. Incredible formation. If you're looking for balance and something to start with, one striker, this is the way to go. Now, what about the balanced formation for a 2-striker formation? Well, nice and simple. I would go for the 4-4-2 flat. And here it is. So similar to the 4-2-1-3, we're going to go counter and we're going to go high defensive line. For the player roles, our defenders and goalkeeper are exactly the same. Fullback balanced, sweeper keeper, defender defend. Nothing's going to change for a balanced formation. That is the most balanced you can have a defensive line. Like I say, you could go fullback defense if you want to, but it's completely personal preference. For one CM, you're going to go box-to-box balance. For your other CM, you're going to go playmaker attack. And that just gives you one player that sort of holds in an attacking role, your playmaker, and then you've got one player that's going to bomb on forward in your box-to-box, but both of them will come back quite defensively. So for your box-to-box, someone that's an actual box-to-box CM. For your playmaker, you can use someone a little bit more lightweight, but for balance, I like having someone that's a good defensive midfielder as well. Just strong all around for that playmaker. For your midfielders, inside forward and balanced again, man, and for your strikers, advanced forward attack. Really good formation, this one. If you do like 2-striker formations over 1 striker, I would recommend rocking this 4-4-2 straight away. From the get-go, it's great defensively, and in terms of the counter, I think this is the best formation on the game. For those long balls over the top, you've got 4 runners, sometimes 5 that are running onwards. You can use this playmaker to just ping that ball over the top, and you're going to have a runner onto it. Here's what it looks like with the ball, pretty much like a 4-2-2, I guess. Really good at keeping the ball, but like I say, on the counter, absolutely insane. And these 2 midfielders, even though this is what they look like here, they will drop back into that CDM role to give you that line of 6 that I spoke about earlier. Strong opinion time here. I think those are the two best formations in FC25 right now. People will disagree, I fully appreciate that, it's personal preference for everyone, but I would say as a balance, as a starter formation, those are the two formations that you could probably go the entire way through some games and not have to tinker. You will win games with those two formations. However, moving on to the next formations, there's going to be times where you come under the cosh, and it's just going to happen. You might be sticking with that balanced formation for 60 minutes, and all of a sudden the momentum swings and you can't seem to get out. What would be a good defensive formation to see out that victory? Well, I've got one for a one striker and one for a two striker right now. Let's start with a one striker formation. And we're going for the trusty 5-4-1 flat. This is an incredible formation, ratty as hell, but if you're winning 2-0 and you're starting to come under the cosh a little bit for the last 30 minutes, this is a great formation for seeing it out. You can keep the ball really well, but also you counter really well. You might go ahead and get that third goal and completely kill the game off, but you're just as likely to be able to hold on to that 2-0 lead all the way up to the 90th minute. We're going to go build-up style counters, pretty self-explanatory. It's a very defensive formation. Once you get that ball off the opponent, usually I'd switch to this if I'm getting attacked at a lot. You want to be able to break quickly, and this is the best way to do it. Line height 70 high, use your offside traps, and you will be in a good position to defend in this formation. Moving on to the player roles, defender and goalkeeper exactly the same. Sweeper keeper, defender plus on every centre half, just makes sense. Now it's where it changes a little bit. For your wing backs, you're going to go on attacking wing back balance for both. And that just gives you that option on the counter to absolutely get those overloads on the left and right side. Not going to have that in many formations that I'm showing you today. And that's why I told you at the beginning with your team, this is a good way to have two fullbacks that you're going to switch in the 60th minute. So I would switch in Cancelo on the right, Beasley on the left, and have proper attacking wing backs to do that counter for. But we'll defend in a line of 5, which makes us pretty hard to break down, even without AI defending. For both your CMs, you're going to go box-to-box balance, nice and simple. They'll come up and attack with you. They'll come back and defend with you in a line of 7. You're not going to be easy to break down. For your wingers, inside forward and balance man, I run it on pretty much every formation, I'll be honest with you. I think it's just the best formation and role for a winger. And again, for the striker, advance forward and attack. So this is what it looks like with the ball. And like I say, that counter is so good. You've got such a good overload on the left and right hand side and enough cover on the defence that if the switch over comes, these players get back a lot quicker than this makes it look. I promise you, it's so hard to break down. So if you're looking for a defensive one striker formation, the 5-4-1's a good one for seeing games out. But what about if you're looking for two strikers? Well, similar deal. For a two striker formation, we're going to run the 5-2-1-2 formation. Now there's a couple of really good variations here. There's the 5-3-2 that's also really good. I just prefer the 5-2-1-2 in terms of where players land. Counter as a build-up style, again, line height of 70 is personal preference. But similar scenario, man. You're going to defend in a line of 7, making it really hard to break down if you have got that 2-0 lead, but you're also really a threat on the counter, which can also get you up to that 3-0, maybe even 4-0 win. Exactly the same roles for the goalkeeper and centre halves, which it will be all the way through the video. Same roles for the wing backs, attacking wing back balanced, box to box on both your central midfielders again. Differences is you've got a cam here rather than wingers. Both your forwards are going to be on advanced forward attack, and your cam is going to be on playmaker and balanced. It works really well, really good for countering, but like I say, we all come to a point where we have to see out a game. It's just natural. Sometimes you'll come against a player that's actually better than you and somehow you are winning. It's just going to happen. If you want to see out that victory, switch from your balanced formation, go 5 at the back. Don't be scared to be a rat. It does help you no end. And here's what this one looks like with the ball. Pretty similar, apart from you haven't got wingers, you're just a bit more central, but you've got the width provided by these guys, and your advanced forwards will actually run into wider positions, and it will be a very similar formation to the 5-4-1 that I showed you earlier. Now, like I said, this is for average gamers, and it's going to help you get more wins. But if you're looking to get more wins, you're obviously losing, and that is a part of the game. I don't win every single game I play. I don't know anyone that does. Even the pros don't win every single game that they play. But you will come to a point where you might be losing 2-0 in sort of the 50th, 60th minute, and no matter what you do, you cannot break the line. You cannot get through, you cannot score. At that point, that's where you need an ultra attacking formation, okay? Something that's going to get you back in the game. You might be 2-0 down in the 60th minute. Rock these formations, either the 2 striker or the 1 striker, whichever's personal preference, and you will create more chances. Obviously, that's going to come with a caveat that you're going to be more vulnerable defensively. It can't be helped. But this isn't real life, man. It doesn't matter if you lose 10-0 or you lose 2-0. Makes no difference. It's a loss on the sheet. You're going down in the rivals charts, okay? You may as well lose 3-2 than lose 2-0. You may as well go out fighting, okay? So here's 2 attacking formations that I think, if you are losing, switch to these and it's going to give you a chance to get back in the game. So starting with the 1 striker formation, we're going to be rocking the 4-3-3 attack, which I think you can turn into an absolutely beast attacking formation. I'm not too keen on it as balanced, I'm not too keen on it defensively, but in terms of out and out attack if you're losing, brilliant formation. Build-up style, obviously counter, you win that ball back, you want everyone flying forward, everyone getting in behind. Line height, 95 aggressive. We're not messing about here. Get that ball won back, get it back in their box, get those goals to bring yourself on the comeback. For the player roles, you guessed it, sweeper keeper and defender defend on the 2 centre halves, not going to change. You might be seeing now why I say that you need attacking wing backs as your subs, because I would not be rocking either in the 5 defensively or the 4 offensively. I would not be rocking Ake and Bronze, okay? Maybe Bronze, but I'd be bringing Cancelo and Beasley on because we're going to go attacking wing back on both fullbacks, attacking wing back balanced to make sure that they're flying up the pitch and offering you an option in the attack. For both your central midfielders, box to box balanced, does give you a little bit of defensive just so that you can maybe win the ball back. But like I say, this isn't about being defensive, man. You're going to be vulnerable. You're going to be vulnerable to the counter and you just have to open yourself up to that because you're trying to get back in the game. For your cam, probably the only instance I personally use Shadow Striker. I want it as if I've got 2 strikers in the box, okay? So I put the cam on Shadow Striker to get forward because that's what this formation's about. As many forward runs as possible. Always the same for the wingers and the forward. Inside forward on the wingers and advanced forward attack on the striker. Just works really well no matter what formation you're rocking. And this is what it looks like with the ball. So you go into sort of a 2-4-1-3, I guess. Doesn't exactly look like this when you get the ball, to be honest. One of your strikers will go to the right or left, and then your shadow striker will obviously be in the box as well. But it is a case that this is to attack, man. You're trying to get back in the game. You need all these players as high up as possible, and you're attacking with 8 players. Like, there's nothing else to it. You're going to overload the other team. You will be vulnerable on the counter. You will get lucky sometimes and get back and manage to just get back, but that's not what this is about. Get that 2-0 turnaround, get back to a 2-2. Then it's up to you. You can go back to balanced and try and see it out. Personally, I usually just stick with the attacking. If I've made 2 goals from it, your opponent's going to be trembling. Go and get that 3rd and win it. But let's see what it's like on a 2-striker formation. And we're going for the tried and trusted 2-striker attacking formation. It's been the way for years, and it's always worked if you're looking to turn around a deficit. It is the 4-2-4. And this has been a staple formation for attacking football. It is just so good if you are behind to just get in a 4-2-4 and just bomb as many players forward as possible. It overloads your opponent so much, and it's so hard to defend against. And this is why if I'm losing in this, sometime even the 50th minute, I'll change to this and I will just bomb and hopefully turn around those 2 goals. For the build-up style, we're going to go counter. For the defensive approach, I've just had to change it, but you go aggressive 95. For the roles, again, these 3 always going to be the same. For your fullbacks, again, attacking wing back and balance so that you're getting them bombing forward. Central midfielders, exactly the same again. Box to box and balance gives you a bit of defensive solidity, but they're going to get up into this line of 8 attackers to help you out. For your wingers, inside forward and balance. Now you can rock, this is the one formation I think where you can rock both inside forward and winger and it be equally effective. Inside forward, its downside is that it can get a bit too crazy in the middle is the word I'm going to use. Whereas if you have them on winger, they'd stay a little bit wider. I still prefer inside forward, but test it out and see what works for you. And then again, both forwards on advanced forward attack. Best role works really well. And this is what it looks like with the ball, man. Like I say, a bit narrow up at the top, but that's what you want. You want as many people getting into the box as possible. And you're going to get 8 people in the final third, which is what we want in this formation. We want to be winning the game. Let's just crack on and get as many people up there as possible. So yeah, if you're losing 60th minute, switch it up, go to an attacking formation. Maybe not if you're losing 1-0, okay? If you're losing 1-0, balanced formations or even the formations I'm going to show you next might be a little bit more effective, just tweaking it a little bit. If you're losing 2-0, may as well go Hail Mary, man. Rock these attacking formations. And for the final formation, guys, I want you to ask yourself, what is the thing you come against the most in FC25 players? Because for me personally, it's counter football and over the top through balls, okay? Happens to me all the time. It's so annoying. So I feel like I need something to counteract that. Now, the 4-4-2 and the 4-2-1-3 as the balanced formations do really well against it. But if you've got someone that is so dug in deep, maybe a 5 at the back formation, maybe a really defensive 4 at the back formation where they just all the time go for the break with the sweaty forwards, I think it's best to have a formation that's good for Tiki-Taka football, okay? It's not a play style everyone runs, I fully appreciate that, but I think if you can be patient in those scenarios, 9 times out of 10, your opponent is going to get bored of sitting behind the ball. If you're just playing it around them constantly, they will come out. They will pull players out of position. And now that AI defending's gone, you can just pass it around them to the point that you create your own opportunities. Not for everyone, these next two, but if you are looking for a really good tiki-taka formation, I would rock this for the one striker formation. And we're going full on Pep Guardiola here and Barcelona because we're going for the 4-3-3 holding. With a one striker formation, this is an incredible tiki-taka formation, okay? So we're going to go 4-3-3 holding, short passing as the build-up style, again defensive approach of high 70. For the player roles, you guessed it, goalkeeper and centre-halves, exactly the same as everything else. For your fullbacks on both, you're going to go false back balanced, which sounds a bit crazy. Most people will go for one, not both, but trust me, if you want to keep the ball, frustrate your opponent, false back on both is really good. For your holding midfielder, you're going to go just that, holding and defend. For one central midfielder, you're going to go playmaker attack. For the other, box-to-box balanced. For both your wingers, identical as all the others, inside forward and balanced. And for your striker, again, advance forward and attack. And here's what it looks like with the ball. So you go into sort of a 2-3-2-3 formation, and it looks narrow, but I promise you it's not. With how players sort of start their runs in this game, especially post-patch, these players are in perfect positions to receive the ball. And with short passing, they're not going to fly forward like they do on all your other formations, okay? They're going to come back a little bit, and they're going to show for the ball. So if you're looking to keep the ball, maybe you've got a win, and you're wanting to hold on to it, keep the ball for 10 minutes, just pass it around, they're not going to get near you. Like I said at the start, also excellent if you're playing somebody that is constantly looking for the counter through ball. If they're just sitting back all the time, they're going to get fed up of doing it. No one has the patience to do that for 60 minutes. They're eventually going to pull players out of position to try and tackle you. So you can just pass, ping, ping, get it around them and score. But yeah, I'll do a video on this. Drop a like down below if you're interested in seeing an actual formation video on this, just because I promise you it looks strange, but it works so well in that specific scenario. But let's move on to the 2-striker formation because, like I said, we're splitting between 1 and 2 striker. And for the 2-striker tiki-taka scenario that I've explained already, we're going to go for the 4-1-3-2. Really underrated formation, really good for keeping the ball. We're going to go short passing as a build-up style, defensive approach, personal preference, but I go high 70. Again, goalkeeper and defender, exactly the same. Fullbacks, exactly the same, both on false back and balanced. Holding midfielder, exactly the same. Holding defend. And then this is where it changes a little bit, man, right? And this is where it differs completely to the one striker formation in that you have a CM that is on playmaker attack, sort of holding this midfield. But for both your wingers in this formation, because you haven't got those 2 right and left central midfielders, I would recommend going winger balanced and keeping that width, because you don't have the sort of outlet on the right and left hand side anymore, which you would in a 3 midfield, okay? So I keep them on winger, and it's the only formation that I do, and it works so well. They stay out wide, they hug the touchline, and then your 2 strikers here, if needed on advance forward, will make that run into the right hand channel or the left hand channel, and they'll provide that option. Remember, this isn't about balls in behind and getting through. It's about short passing tiki-taka football to frustrate your opponent and either see out a win or to make them lose their focus and come out of position. So both winger balanced on there, and then for your strikers, advance forward attack as always. And here's what it looks like with the ball, and it's pretty similar, 2-3-3-2, bit of a similar formation, but you're overloading this midfield, man. You've got 6 players that are all going to come short into this central midfield area, and you can just pass it around people. You can keep the ball so well in this formation. So if you are looking for a tiki-taka formation, 1 or 2 striker, hopefully one of these will help you out. And there you are, guys, 4 formations for both a 1 striker and a 2 striker formation, whichever is your preference. They'll help you get more wins for the exact scenarios that I've just told you about. So use them as and when you need to use them for that scenario, okay? But I know what you're thinking. What if I want to use both? 1 striker and 2 striker? Well, I do. Everyone should. This is just a scenario that I've made up in my head. Obviously, you should mix and match and see what works best for you. So I'll show you exactly what I run on my actual account and, you know, give anyone that plays me the tips on how to beat me. So here we are, guys. As you can see at the top left there, AGBFC, that is my actual team that I take into Rivals and Weekend League and all that stuff. So what formations do I run personally to match with this? Well, for the balance formation, I start with the 4-2-1-3. I think it is just ridiculously overpowered. However, as you know, you can have 5 formations if you use your starter one as an actual formation and not just a chemistry formation, which is exactly what I do. So even though I start with the 4-2-1-3, sometimes you'll just get games where it's not working, but it might still be 0-0. And in that scenario, I might switch to the 4-4-2, my other balanced formation that I told you about. Both work so well in different scenarios. So if I'm using the 4-2-1-3 and struggling to break down, switch to the 4-4-2 and go a little bit more over the top or through bally. Usually, I'll get somewhere either way, okay? But yeah, 4-4-2 and 4-2-1-3, I rock them both. Now, if I'm winning and I want to see a game out because I've come under the cosh a little bit, well, I go for the 5-2-1-2. It just works better for me, I think. I just think it's a bit more heavy in the centre, and post-patch, a lot of people are playing through balls down the middle, trying to build up with a cam. So you've got those 3 sort of central midfield areas that are covering that. So I think it just surpasses the 5-4-1 in that regard. But both are really good formations. Give them both a try. Now, what if I'm losing 2-0 in the 60th minute? What attacking formation do I go for? Well, I mentioned it in the scenarios. The bread and butter, man. The 4-2-4. It's just so good at getting you back into a game, man. And to show I'm a man of my word, I also use a tiki-taka formation. And the one I use mostly at the moment is the 4-3-3, the tiki-taka holding 4-3-3. I just think it gives me a lot of options and it is really good at keeping the ball. Both of the tiki-taka formations I've showed you work really well for keeping the ball and frustrating your opponents. So it's whatever personal preference for you. Like I say, the codes are below. Try both out. See what works best for you. Personally, I like having those 3 midfielders and I don't really like having my wingers on winger, if that makes sense. I much prefer having them in inside forward roles, and I think this is a better formation for it. Anyway, guys, this is already an absolutely ridiculously long video. I can see it from just peering down at the recording time, but I hope at least one of these formations helps you get more wins, because I know that it has me. Now that I've got these sort of tactics down, I'm in such a better position when I actually just play for fun. Obviously, on the channel, I try out no end of different formations, ridiculous, wild and wonderful. Some work, some do not. But if I was just actually playing this for fun, these are the 8 formations that I would recommend giving a go post-patch to get more wins. If you do find it helpful, don't forget to drop the video a like. It helps me out no end, guys. And if you want more interesting and weird content like this, why not consider dropping me a sub? More crazy FC25 content at least twice a week. Anyway, I hope you have a great rest of your day, and I'll speak to you soon. Bye!